Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by Milo Tree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie. I'm a blogger, serial entrepreneur. I started my career in 2009 when I built Catch My Party with my husband, and we've grown it into the largest party ideas site on the web. Then we built our pop-up app, Milo Tree, to help you grow your social media followers and email subscribers. And we've launched Milo Tree Cart as the easiest way for you creators to sell digital products to your audience with no tech skills necessary. So if you are hoping to turn on a new income stream in 2023 to sell digital downloads, coaching, workshops, memberships, subscriptions, anything you could sell digitally, this is an awesome time to buy Milo Tree, and we sell it as a lifetime subscription. So to get you lots of goodies, please get on the wait list for our Milo Tree Cart Black Friday special. And all you have to do is go to milotree.com/Black Friday special. The first 20 people who purchase during Black Friday get a whole VIP experience worth over $150. Plus, we are giving away stuff we have never given away before. Don't miss this. Go to milotree.com/Black Friday special. For today's episode, I have my friend Ashley Greenwood on the show, and she is the blogger behind Three Little Greenwoods. She is a craft blogger. She is a wreather, somebody who makes wreaths. She has a very successful Etsy shop, and she's a TikToker. Ashley shares the story of how she's grown her business and how she has started hosting paid workshops teaching people how to create beautiful wreaths. I think Ashley's is a great story of how you have to just put stuff out there and test it and see, because sometimes you can find tremendous success. So without further delay, here is my interview with Ashley Greenwood. Ashley, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you.
Thank you, Jillian. I am so excited to be here.
So you are, ready for it, a wreather. Is that the term you use?
Yes, I am a wreather. I am a wreath maker. I have my own successful Etsy business. I have my own online floral business that I host on the Etsy platform. That's how I like to say it.
Ooh, okay. So let's step back. Tell me, how did you get into making wreaths? How did you start selling them? And then how did you start teaching people how to make them themselves?
I've always been extremely crafty. I've always made my own wreaths for our house and done my own like home decor. I've loved doing that for years and years. I've been a school teacher for over 20 years, teaching little people, kindergarten. So one day I was home after school and I was on Facebook and I saw this lady making wreaths. And I was just so interested in it. And then I realized that she actually had a successful business selling wreaths online. And at the time I was teaching 4K at a private preschool. And I just really wanted to make more meaningful income for our family. So I just started doing more research about wreath making and how do you start a wreath making business.
No, wait, what year? What year is this?
This is, I began in October of 2019.
Wow. Okay. So before, right as the pandemic was hitting? Yeah.
Pretty much.
Or kind of like right before. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing I know, I had started an Etsy shop and I was selling locally here. Like a couple of my friends began to support me, but here in my small town, I mean, you can only sell so many wreaths to your friends.
Where are you located?
I am in South Carolina.
Okay.
In a small town in South Carolina. So I just went all in on Etsy and I treated it like another job, like I was getting a college education. I did as much research as I could. trying to figure out best practices and what I should be doing, because I really went into it as a business, not
Mm,
just a nice little crafty thing that I did on the side. I could see the potential of making money, and I wanted to do that. So when the pandemic hit and the schools closed down, and I was at home with my three children, I really went all in on Etsy and just learned as much as I could, created as many products, many wreaths, arrangements, bows that I could to fill up my Etsy shop. And incredibly, people were at home and they were bored of and tired of looking at their four walls. And they really did a ton of online shopping, which made my Etsy business really take off and grow.
okay. So let's break this down. How much does a wreath sell for?
In my shop, wreaths typically run from $150 to $200.
$150 to $200. Is wreathing or like putting wreaths on your door a Southern thing predominantly? Because in California, I went to this mastermind in Texas and they were talking about wreathing. And I'm like, what is this concept? And it took me a really long time to figure out that they were wreath makers and that there's this enormous business like on Etsy, but also people just have shops and that people put wreaths on. I mean, of course, I understand that people put wreaths on their doors, but I didn't understand the scope and that people will switch out wreaths and seasonally, that kind of thing. And that wreaths are expensive and people will buy them.
Yes. Yes, it is traditionally a Southern thing. My client base is typically all the way to Texas and up towards the New England states. So I sell mainly on East Coast, but I also ship to California and Wyoming and Utah. So they're everywhere. And there are so many doors in the world that we can all put wreaths on. So our wreath making community is a community. We are supportive of each other. We always say, hey, I learned how to do this from this person, or hey, I learned how to do this from that person. So it's a wonderful community that we have built.
Okay. You're selling wreaths for $150 to $200.
Yes.
How much do the materials cost to go into a wreath, and how long does it take for you to create one?
Typically, the costs to go into a wreath are $50 to $80. It depends on what type of wreath I am making. So the materials that we are putting into that, they are not inexpensive. They are high quality materials that we are putting into them. So that's why they cost so much.
And how
So
about
yeah, and it takes
shipping?
me a good shipping ranges from me between 16 to $24 to ship. It depends on where I'm shipping to in the States. I am in South Carolina. So to ship to California, the shipping is at least $26. If it is closer to me here in the Southeast, shipping is about $15, $16
Do you
for
offer
a large wreath.
do you offer free shipping? I know Etsy went all in on wanting shop owners to eat the shipping or at least put that in the price of the item.
It is included in the price of my item. So it is free, quote unquote, shipping, but it is not free. It is just included in the price of the item.
Got it. Okay. And how long does it take you to create a wreath?
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. Okay. And has
So, yeah.
so did you leave your teaching job?
I did. This is my second year of going all in full time on my wreath business.
Okay.
So I did. I was in a part-time private preschool when I stepped back from teaching. And I could just see the potential of being able to earn way more than what I was earning teaching preschool. So yeah, but I did teach in the public school system for over 20 years.
And is there room, like, for other new wreathers to come into the market, or do you feel like it's a very saturated market?
There are a lot of us, but there is always room for more because there are so many doors in the world, and they all need wreaths, and we're all different. Like, just because I admire a wreath maker and I want to make a wreath just like them, we are all different. Our styles are all different. So we can all try to make the same wreath, but they're going to be a little bit different. So there's room for all of us.
Okay. How long did it take you to learn Etsy? Is Etsy a hard platform to sell on?
It is not a hard platform to sell on. It is an easy start. I'm a quick start girl, and it was really easy to get started. But you really do have to do your research on how to set everything up. Like I said, when the pandemic hit, I went all in. That means I got myself a business coach who knows about Etsy and really taught me the steps that I needed to take to be successful on Etsy. And it's truly all about SEO, search engine optimization. People are going to Etsy to look for specific things. You need to know what to name your products so that they can find it.
Right. So it's not just a spring wreath. It could be a floral wreath. It could be a baby shower wreath. It could be people could have a lot of different ideas of what they're looking for, and they all could be pointed to the same wreath, but it's how you classify it for the person looking. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And by the way, I've had Damon Oates on my show, and he's like a big wreather. And is he somebody you've studied with?
Yes, Damon is fantastic. He is full of knowledge, and I always love learning from him. He shoots it straight
Yeah.
and tells
And
you exactly
I
what you
will,
need to do.
yeah, I'll link to that episode. Now, tell me, in your day, how many wreaths are you making?
I don't just make wreaths, I make urn fillers, which are artificial planters that you put on your front porch. Typically during a day, I can make 3 to 5 orders a day or wreaths a day. It just depends on how intricate they are and if they are what we call a multiple. So the real trick on getting traction on Etsy is to have a listing that you can reproduce over and over and over, because the more you sell it, the more multiples you make, the more juice that gets behind that listing, the more Etsy pushes it out. So if it's a multiple and I've made it 50 times, then it doesn't take me as long as if I'm just starting from scratch.
And that means, is each one listing and then you sell it and then you relist it, or you say there are 50 of these wreaths available? How does that work?
So I have a bestseller wreath. It's a pink peony wreath. It's a beautiful wreath, and I have sold hundreds of them. And I just have one listing, but I keep saying, okay, I keep changing the quantities. So right now I have 20 that are available, and then I'll sell all of those out, and then I'll relist it again and say I'll have 20 more. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And do you
Okay.
hire people to help you make wreaths?
No, I do not hire people to help me make wreaths, but I do have a virtual assistant that helps me with all of the background, all of the social media things.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Now, okay, before we get into that, do you ever get burnout making wreaths and all of these different crafts? Given that you love crafting, do you feel how is it now to take something that you love and turn it into a business?
So I have my bestseller wreath. I have made that thing so many times, and there are points where I am just absolutely sick of making it, but this is my job. And even though I'm tired of making it and I don't want to make it anymore, it keeps selling. And this is a business and it is my job. So I just keep making it. And then I go and make something different to kind of get those juices flowing again.
Okay. And will you say you're going to have 20 in stock? Will you just make 20 and then move on to something else? Or will you just, to keep sane, do the peony wreath and then do other things and then come back to it? What's your process like?
They're made to order. It is easier for
Oh,
me to store the supplies of wreaths than it is for me to store one big wreath that I have to hang on every wall in our home or find some place to put it. So it's easier for me just to make them as the orders come in.
there's a whole machinery, I take it, behind just your Etsy shop. And I know when I first started talking to you that you, for example, have a really big presence on TikTok. So when you first started your Etsy shop, then did you start a blog? And then did you start social media? How did this whole thing come about?
I actually started a DIY blog in 2013.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, and it's just something, I kind of played with it and I dabbled into the social medias, but then that was during a break from teaching when I was a stay-at-home mama with my three children. Then I went back to teaching. The blogging went on the back burner. I always kept it going. I have ads on my
I was
blog.
going to say, were you
So,
monetizing it?
yes, I had reached the point where I was able to monetize it. So I just kept it going in the background. And then I began my Etsy shop. And then I started TikTok. My business coach encouraged me to start doing short form video. And I was like, TikTok seems so silly. My boys were into it and they kept, Mama, you got to look at this video. It is so funny. I thought it was just dumb. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I began to do just short little videos on TikTok. Then this was a year ago. I started TikTok in October of 2021.
Wow.
So I've only been on it a year. At first, it was more look at my beautiful wreath. Don't you want to buy it kind of thing. And then I slowly started sharing wreath making tips. And here's how I do this and answering questions. And I think that's what really led me into the teaching side of it because people were so engaged. They wanted to know more. And I love teaching. I taught for a long time. So that is what I think flipped it over to not just being a product seller on Etsy, but sharing my knowledge and my love of wreath making with others.
So wait, how many TikTok followers do you have right now?
I am almost to 40,000.
Oh my
Almost.
God. Wait, when I met you, I want to say you were at maybe 20.
Yeah. Yes, slowly
Wow.
but surely. I love going live, doing tutorials live, and the engagement on TikTok is just phenomenal. People chatting with me, talking, asking me questions. So it's just been so much fun and such a great way to grow.
So how many TikToks do you make a day?
I typically post one a day, but sometimes I just don't get to it. But at least 5 to 6 a week, if not one every day,
And then how often are you going live?
at least twice a week.
For how long?
Um, Probably about an hour each time because it takes me about an hour to make a project, and I'm chatting the whole time I'm working, so that slows me down a little bit. So probably about an hour each time.
Wow. Are your TikToks meme TikToks like, hey, everybody's doing this funny thing and I'm going to morph it into my niche? Or are they, hey, check out this way to tie a bow? Like, what do your TikToks look like?
Every once in a while, I'll do what I call a cutesy TikTok where I use a fun um, a sound or a song, but mostly they are answering questions that people ask on my previous videos. They are explaining how to do something. It may be a time lapse of a wreath that I have made, but it's really serving my audience
So it's
instead of
not
just
it
dancing around.
right. So it's less I mean, it is entertaining, but it's less like, hey, look at me, aren't I cute or funny? And more, hey, here are nuts and bolts. Like if you want to make reads, follow me because I'm going to give you real information to help you.
Exactly, because that's the kind of people I want to attract.
I wanted to take a short break because you know I am all about creators selling digital products to their audiences. But you might be going, well, okay, that sounds great, but like I don't even know where to start. I don't know what kind of digital product to make. And that's why I created a digital product personality quiz. You can get this at milotree.com/quiz. And based on your personality, it will tell you which product you might start with first. Plus, attached to it is a worksheet where you can put the details in and really flesh out what you can sell. Again, go to milotree.com/quiz. And now back to the show. So it's so funny because I would have said, I know with Damon, for example, Facebook and Facebook Lives were huge for him. Is that still a thing for you? Or like, was that ever a thing for you?
I don't think I went all in on Facebook. I think that Facebook has wonderful potential to gather your community and your audience together. But I think that where you put your time is where you're going to grow. And I got such immediate interaction on TikTok. That's where I put my time. Every time I would go live on Facebook, no one was there, no one was watching or commenting. It was just kind of like a dead zone. So, of course, TikTok was giving me love, so I gave it love back.
So funny. And again, this is, I think, a really important point that you just made. I would assume when I think about your customer, I'm assuming she's maybe it's a woman and maybe 50s, 60s, maybe has grandkids, wants to decorate her door for the holidays. So, of course, I'm thinking Facebook. No way would a TikTok audience show up for you. When I'm doing TikToks, my daughter's kind of making fun of me, like, Mom, you're way too old to be on TikTok. And what I love is you found this big audience on TikTok. And are they 50, 60-year-old moms, grandmas, or are they young people who want to make reads?
Well, that's a little hard for me to tell because on TikTok,
Right.
well, let's go on Facebook, you can see people's faces, they have their names. You can kind of investigate them just a little bit to get some more information about who they are, how old they are, what, their family situation. On TikTok, you can't really do that.
Ooh.
So I am assuming that they are women 40 to 60 that are crafty and creative, have always wanted to learn how to make a wreath for their front door. And those are the people that I attract.
That's
But
amazing.
it's harder to figure out on TikTok than it is on Facebook.
Do you ever ask?
No, I mean, I do ask if they are wreath makers
Okay.
or if they're just crafty. And it's about a 50-50.
So when they're wreath makers, are they selling wreath? If you're a wreath maker, does that mean you sell wreaths or does that mean you just like decorating your door?
I'm not sure about that. I would assume that if they're a wreath maker, they are selling.
Okay. So you've got people who follow you because they want to be making wreaths and selling wreaths, like people who want to be doing what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about Instagram? Has that been a place for you?
That has, so when I first began my blog in 2013, Instagram was the place for the beautiful, pristine, well cultivated and put together images. And I could just never get on board with Instagram. So Instagram has not gotten my love either. But now that I have a virtual assistant, she's helping me kind of grow that over there as well.
Are
So
you
I'm
showing,
everywhere.
are you taking your TikToks and repurposing them as reels on Instagram, for example?
Yes.
And is that helping you grow on Instagram?
Yes.
And how many
So we
followers do you have on
I'm
Instagram?
not I'm not sure.
Okay. Are you
I don't
making
know.
sales on TikTok or on Instagram? Like, do you
I
have a
am making
link?
sales on TikTok.
So you have a link in your bio and it links to your
Mhm.
Etsy shop?
Um, I have lots of links for places for people to go. So now I am shifting my business from just being a product seller to being a teacher. So I always encourage people to go to the link in my bio on TikTok because there are free wreath making tutorials. There's places where I shop, all sorts of goodness that they can get into. And there is also a link to my Etsy shop. So I'm trying to hit all of those different people that are coming to follow me.
Okay. Can we talk about how we connected? So,
Yes.
okay.
So I
So,
have been a follower of you for a while
oh,
because I love your podcast.
oh,
And, you know, I really wanted to grow my business and I love listening to podcasts. So anytime I could get some business tips from any podcast, I am like all in on that. And you always have good things to say about growing your business and what you should be doing. One day I heard you mention Milo Tree Cart, which is a way to host workshops, all sorts of goodness, all sorts of things. And I was interested in that because, yes, I have a blog, but it's not a Shopify site. So I cannot take money on my blog. So I didn't know how to sell workshops. And you were my answer for that. Milo Tree Cart helped me set up workshops to be able to start selling teaching workshops this fall.
yes. Okay. So let's talk about the first one. So you come to me and you've got this TikTok audience, and I had no idea if the audience would translate into people coming because they're getting your content kind of like passively on their phones. And are they going to really get off of their phones to come show up for you? So I helped you. We put together a sales page and it was a fall wreath. So this was relatively
Mm-hmm.
recently, right? And you were
Yes,
going to go through just a basic, pretty fall wreath. And I think you charged $19.
I did.
Okay. And then you started promoting it on TikTok and I'm watching from the back end, right? So I can see your dashboard and I'm going, because I had no idea. It's so funny. I've shared this story before, but somebody was like, I've got, what do you think of this product idea? Because I always say, please run product ideas by me. And this woman said, here's my product idea. And I thought it was great, but it wasn't like in a niche that I knew that much about or whatever. And she goes, so you think it'll be successful? And I'm like, I have no idea if it will be successful. And it was the same thing with you. Like you'd never taught and gotten paid before. And I think you had a very small email list. Am I right?
Yeah, like 700,
Okay. Which
not
is not
super
super small, but
big.
it's not like 7,000, and I always
Right.
feel like the money's really in your list because you've built a little bit of you've got a closer relationship when you email somebody versus showing up on social media where you don't know if somebody's going to be there. it's kind of a crapshoot. That your TikTok is going to show up and they're going to see it, or you're going to be live and they're going to be there, versus say email, which has a little bit more of a direct way to contact, a direct way to be in touch with somebody. So you, my friend, start doing TikToks or doing something, and I'm watching sales on the back end. And I'm like, oh my God, Ashley, you got this. So will you talk about how you started promoting it? Because honestly, when we set it up, I'm like, I hope it works. I don't know if it's going to work.
I didn't know if it was going to work either. This is the first time I had ever done anything like that. Yes, I have been growing my email list with lots of opt-ins, trying just to get my people to come to me, but I didn't know if it was going to work or not. I started going live on TikTok at least twice a week. And every time I would go live, I would say, hey, look, this is what we're going to be making in the fall wreath workshop. I would love for you to join me. And people just started coming in. And I was so excited. Every time I would go live, I would get 4 more people, 6
Yeah.
more people, 3 more people. My little stats just kept adding up.
Where did you put
And
the link to sign up?
I put the link in my profile. So through my email service, Aweber, it's kind of like a link tree where it's lots of little buttons for them to choose where they would like to go. I put it right at the top. I linked to the sales page that you helped me set up. You walk through that with me. And that's how they would join the workshop.
Would you say like, go to the link in my bio and sign up? Like you gave them the direct information. You didn't make it hard.
No, over and over and over. Go to the link in my profile. Go sign up for the workshop.
Okay. So you get, I think the first workshop you did, you got $900 worth of sales.
700.
Okay. $700.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had to do it. And what was that like?
It went really well. I hosted it in a private Facebook group because the majority of my community also have a Facebook page, and that would just be easier for them to access it and go back and watch them over. So I hosted it in a private Facebook group. I went live over a 2-day period. At least 3 times I went live, and then there were also some pre-recorded tutorials in there as well for them to access.
What do you mean you went live 3 times? What do you mean?
I mean, like I would do the tutorial with them live on the Facebook page, making the wreath.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
But what do you mean?
We also had
3 times.
3 different times. So, it may have been 4,
so you did the same
4
wreath?
times. No.
Okay.
I did multiple tutorials.
Okay.
So we went live to begin with a welcome video like, hey, everybody, I'm so happy you're here. Here's the supplies that we're going to be using. Here's what we're going to be making. And then the next day or later that night, I would go live with a wreath tutorial, and we would make it from start to finish. And they could watch that. Of course, it's also saved in the group so they could go back and rewatch it as many times as they wanted. And then I went live again, making a different version of the wreath, complete tutorial, start to finish, showing them step by step how to do it. And then at the end of the workshop, we had a question and answer session where they could ask me about wreath making or starting an Etsy shop or anything they would like.
Wow. And then you were inspired to do it again. And in fact, when we just got on this call, I didn't even know that you had done it again. This time with like a Christmas wreath. So what was that experience like?
That was awesome. I upped my price. So it went from $19 to $24. I had fewer participants, but I made more money because I had increased the price. It was a 2-day workshop where I went live multiple times teaching
in the same
tutorials.
Facebook group or new Facebook group?
No, a new Facebook group, a new private Facebook group.
Okay.
I had people that went to my fall one and joined me again for the Christmas one. I had brand new people that had never um, come to any of my tutorials before. So it was really successful. And I really enjoyed being able to take the time with that small little group just to get to know them better and to teach them how to make something beautiful.
Wow. So it's a totally different side of your business. You're not just a
Yes,
shop owner. You're now a
right.
teacher.
Yeah, I am a teacher again.
And how does
It's
that
pretty
feel?
awesome. It feels good. I had said for years, ever since I first started my Etsy shop business, friends would say, "Well, are you going to teach? Are you going to teach people how to do it?" And I was like, "No, I'm not teaching how to do this. I don't think I can teach how to do this." Um, but gradually, I think because of TikTok and sharing with my audience over there, I was like, you know what? I think I can teach people how to make wreaths.
Mm.
And people really love listening to me and watching my tutorials. They tell me all the time, it cracks me up.
Well, you know
They
what?
say I have such a nice
I
voice.
was just going to say you have that kindergarten teacher vibe. Like I
Oh
just
my gosh,
love you.
yes.
Like I want you to put me to bed at night.
Yes, I
You
have
know,
that
like it's nap time.
kindergarten teacher vibe.
You totally do. Now, here's a question. People have had, we haven't even talked about this, but a lot of people who've been doing paid workshops have been then selling them as mini courses. Have you thought about that? So, for example, it's now you did a Christmas wreath. It's you've got a long time before Christmas. Have you thought about just taking the video, creating a sales page in Milo Tree Cart and selling it as a mini course and going to
Yeah.
your TikTok audience and your email list, but it seems like really your TikTok audience is super engaged and saying, guys, buy this. You want a wreath for your door? Here, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, and I can tell people you didn't miss out. Don't worry, you can still get this just because
Mm-hmm.
you weren't able. Because I think something that holds people back from doing online workshops is they're like, I don't have the time. I'm not going to be able to get there on that date. And we need to just educate them and say, it's okay. You don't have to be here on that date. This is going to be sitting, waiting for you right here.
Mm-hmm.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, and you can download the videos from Facebook if you want. You can send them into the Facebook
Hmm.
group or download them and upload them as unlisted videos on YouTube, which just a link.
Yeah.
And then when they purchase, you can just send them the link.
Yes.
But
Easy
I
peasy.
would totally do that because somebody just recently did it and she just went back to her email list. She has a big email list and just like turned on a new income stream and made like $400 in a weekend by repurposing the email she had previously sent. And it was like,
Yeah.
she reached out to me and goes, guess what I just did? I just sold the record. Again, not that she did anything to the recording. She didn't edit it. She just when it just said, hey, get the replay. She had already downloaded it or gotten a link for it because for the people who purchased her workshop who couldn't be there live, she had a link. She had, I think, put it up on YouTube as an unlisted video. So she already had it. So she just said, hey, and I think there was a PDF that went along with it. So she just went to her list and said, do you want to buy this? It was a recording I did. I'm selling it now as a mini course and you get the PDF as well. And boom, it was like no brainer. It was easy money because she'd already created the
Right.
content and the content was valuable.
Right. I think that we really, all of us need to be more intentional about what we do and to work smarter and not harder. We sometimes just make things so complicated and it doesn't have to be that complicated. And
Absolutely.
Milo Tree Cart really helped me bridge the gap of, hey, I want to teach a class, but I don't know how to like get the money for it. And it seemed very complicated, but it truly isn't.
Right. Oh, that makes me so happy. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody about Milo Tree Cart and she said, what I need is fewer features. And that's what Milo Tree Cart offers. And somebody just recently said to me, I have all the tech. If I wanted to do this myself, like with she has like a guy who like is like her tech guy. She goes, but I just want a place where I can play around, muck around, and I won't mess it up. And I'm like, you can't
Yes.
break it. Go do that. Like, go put up sales pages and see. Like, so it's so funny because I do remember saying to David, my husband, going, oh, Ashley just got a bunch of sales. I don't know what she's doing, but like, why? It was almost like, it was like, I felt like as if it was, I would be every day be checking and going, she got more sales. This is amazing. So, especially
Pretty
because
awesome.
you said in the beginning, you're like, I don't know, maybe I'll get 3 sales.
Oh yeah, my goal was for 5 participants to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And the first workshop there were 36, and for the Christmas workshop there were 40. And so yeah, it's pretty
Wow.
awesome.
All right, so let's talk about the future of your business or where you see it going. When you look out, like let's say into 20, I know you've got busy Christmas coming up, right? So this is like your big time of order. So you're going to be watching Netflix and making wreaths like for the next
Right.
4 weeks, 5 weeks,
Yep.
6 weeks, right?
Yes.
Okay. So your house is going to be this explosion of ribbons and flowers and all that.
And glitter.
And
Everywhere,
glitter. Okay. So after you get through that, where do you see it in 2023? What are you thinking?
I would love to host more workshops. I want to sit and plan out my year and think like, what would people be interested in learning how to do? How can I serve my customers or my community that I've built, my little email list and my community on TikTok? And I want to host more workshops, and maybe eventually I will have my own paid community, like a
Membership?
monthly membership.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be really awesome, because instead of just selling one wreath that takes me an hour to make and getting paid for that, I could reach so many people in the same amount of time it would take me to make that one wreath. I could really expand my business and provide more meaningful income for my family.
What I think is interesting is I think that you are a teacher. And I think that at least the workshops you're able to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
So that you get to scratch the itch of being a crafter, because I feel like you are just so inherently creative. But now I feel like you're able to do both and to feed your soul. That's what I feel.
Yes, I agree with that. For a long time, like I said, I didn't really want to pursue teaching this craft. But once I got into it, I just really love it. And I love it when people say, I followed your tutorial. Here's what I made. And it looks just like what I taught. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I must be doing pretty good if what she made looks very similar to the way that I taught it. So it just fills me up.
And I don't know, did we talk about this? I don't know if you're doing this, but there was somebody else I was talking to, which is then after people come to your workshop as like a little added bonus, if they take a photo of what they've created, you'll post it. And if you've been doing that to celebrate
I did that with
them?
my fall wreath shop. Yeah. And they loved it. It made them so happy that I would feature something that they had made on a TikTok video, which of course I'm repurposing all over everywhere.
It's so funny, just so you know, I was talking to somebody else who has a following on TikTok, not like yours, but big, and I said something about, wow, I worked with this other TikTok. By the way, I call you a TikToker, just so you know. And I said,
My children will be so impressed.
I know. I said, I was working with this other TikToker and she had tremendous success. And she said, what's her name on TikTok? And I looked you up and I told them, and they go, oh, I already follow her. So just so you know, yeah, it was so funny. I'm like, oh my God, which made me feel so good. And kind of, I had that like association thing, like where I felt good about me because I know you. And so like,
my
I know
gosh,
this famous
hilarious.
TikTok wreather that it was like, oh yeah, I know her. And she's like, oh yeah. So it was just this really funny moment. So just know that you do reach this big community of people, especially on TikTok.
Yeah.
The people
amazing.
know you,
Who knew? My teenage boys will be so impressed.
I know. So Ashley, if people want to see what you're doing, see your Etsy shop, let's say your blog, like where would you, your TikTok, where would you send them?
So all over, everywhere, I am Three Little Greenwoods. It's the number three, the word little, and the word Greenwoods. That is the name of my blog that I started in 2013 when it was just mainly about my children and their birthday parties and look at the DIY that I just did for our home. So I am all over everywhere with that. And I would love to offer a free wreath making tutorial to your audience if they would be interested. We can leave that in the comments if that would be okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, that's terrific. Well, I love working with you. I love watching just the growth. You've been just so satisfying for me. And this is exactly the kind of person who initially was like, I don't want to deal with any of this tech. I don't know how to set this up. And yet you were able, because you have this audience, to turn on a revenue stream, and that it's been so satisfying.
Yes. And I could not have done it without your help. So I truly
Oh,
appreciate you.
oh, it's been my pleasure. Well, Ashley, I just have to say thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jillian.
I hope you guys like this episode. For me, just getting the chance to work with somebody like Ashley, who just took a leap of faith and was able to turn on a whole new revenue stream and feel so satisfied in the process. Like, there is nothing better for me. Just hearing her story just makes me smile. And honestly, I wish this for all of you. If you've got an audience like Ashley was able to cultivate, but you are not selling to them, you are leaving money on the table. And my hope is that I give you the tools, the strategy, and the confidence to go make it happen for yourself. Again, get on my waitlist for MiloTree cart for our Black Friday special at milotree.com/Black Friday special. Grab my quiz at milotree.com/quiz, and I will see you here again next week.